Okay, today we're going to go over a trending topic, but with the re-release of the Marvel vs. Capcom series. We are on Marvel 2. So we're getting in a whole flux of new players. And a question that a lot of people might be thinking is, how do I get into this game? How do I have fun with it? You have all kinds of people who are like trying to like mess with the game. I notice. And one thing I gotta let people know, getting into this, if this looks flashy and all that, is that this game is very broken. Very broken. To the point where, like, players often, like, create bro codes and, like, etiquettes. Because it's like, there's cheap shit here that people, like, have to, like, kind of, like, homie it out and be like, we're not gonna be about that life. It gets that broken. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is, a lot of new players are wondering, how do I get into this? How do I, like, where do I start, right? So usually, you go into this game, and the first thing you're met with is, oh my god, look at all these friggin' characters, right? Like, look at all these guys, right? My first and most important question, honestly, is what character are you really passionate about? Usually everybody has, like, whether it's you remember this from your childhood, and you're like, oh, you know, like, freaking Spider-Man's my GOAT, man. Like, I gotta go with the Spider-Man, homie. Or, like, maybe you're a Street Fighter fan, you're like, oh, Ryu is my guy. What the hell is he? Ryu is my guy. Whatever. I want to encourage kind of like a balance between, having fun and trying to express yourself as a player, trying to do what you want to do, but you also need to like know that like there is practicality in the game, a lot of it that you kind of have to implement, because again, this is a team game, so this is picking three characters, right? So this is assist based. You really want to have some level of like top tier privilege. You can look up a tier list on this game. Very easy to access. The obvious, four broken gods. You have Storm, Sentinel, and Mags, and then, you got Cable. Like, those are the four known gods. But there's a lot of characters that are outside of those four that can have, like, great assists that you can definitely abuse. Commando is a very well-known one. So what I want to break this down to is, first you gotta think about the character you're really passionate about. This is the character that you're probably gonna choose as like your first character. This is how there's a difference between having fun with the game and wanting to get good. And so my way of truly enjoying this game as a new player is you gotta find like the middle ground, like where like your team has enough sauce and like personality of like someone who's into unorthodox stuff, but you gotta have the backing of like the meta. So it's like you gotta find. That's how I like to see. So you can't have a team full of weirdos because then it just doesn't work. But then obviously, if you want to run all top tiers, there's nothing wrong with that. But most people probably get into this game and they're like, I want to have a little fun with it. Spider-Man's my guy. I don't care if he's not a top tier. I gotta run him. So this video kind of caters to that kind of player, right? But let's say you like Spider-Man. We're gonna run a couple of examples, right? Let's say Spider-Man is your guy. Okay. One thing you want to know is capture type is like really good. He has like a couple of good assists. Like I think all his assists are good. But capture type is my personal favorite. He does the web ball, so he like does setups. Let's say Spider-Man's your GOAT, right? He's your guy, you're a Spider-Man fan. Now you gotta think about, okay, how do I make Spider-Man work, right? Like, you gotta think about, okay, I like this guy, but, like, I want to make him work, right? Then you ask yourself, okay, there are good assists, of all the good assists that you see, what's, like, your main concern as a player? Like, well, this is like a big topic, right? So like in this game, there's hyper rushdown, and there's also like runaway and camping, right? So like your third, the third character is usually going to be your assist character. So what decides that is what do you want to cover. So let's say if you're a Spider-Man guy, right? And I don't want the idea. I don't like the idea. Let's say of like people running away from me or something like that. I want to have I want to have an assist that makes sure that people are going to interact with me. Well, then you probably want like a Doom assist, or you'd want Blackheart. Blackheart has a really good anti-zoning assist. There are assists for that. But your third character is going to be based off of like patching out what your first character might lack in. So let's say if you're on the other side, let's say you don't mind runaway players, but you don't want to get rushed down, then you might want Captain Commando as like your third character, right? That's gonna be your third character. Your third character is gonna be mainly like you want to use them as an assist for the most part, because they're usually gonna be the last one on your team alive if you lose. Your second character is going to be a character maybe you kind of like, but you're not as dedicated to as with your main. So it might be like a character that is more like easy and flexible to use, right? So let's say you're into Spider-Man, right? And then maybe you might want a character that's more splashable and friendlier to use, and just like you don't have to commit as much time, right? So you might want something like I don't know, you might see Iceman and you might be like, oh, just, you know, chuck ice. That's the game plan with this guy, right? You like to chuck ice. You go for Iceman. And then let's say you want people to not run away from you, right? So then you go for Doom. You could go for something like this, right? And so it's a team that you can have fun with, but it's also kind of like it's kind of competent, right? It's got coverage, right? The first thing you want to know is if you like moving around your character with your character, right? So like obviously, I don't play Spider-Man for anything, so I'm not gonna do anything. I'm doing that, and like people don't know where he's gonna land, so then he can like catch people on a loop. I don't play Spider-Man at all, so I don't know. Um, that's his thing. If that if that's your kind of style, then obviously you're him. It really depends. Your first character is gonna be your character who you ideally play as a lot. So you gotta make sure that you like moving around with them, that you like their buttons, you like their specials, that they really kind of resonate with you, right? There can be like a character crisis. You can kind of have that with this game, but there's enough characters that you should probably run into something that you might like. So let's run another example. Let's say you're Ryu. Let's say you're into Ryu. You're like, oh man, I gotta have my Shoryukens and all my Shoryukens and all that. I gotta get that. And then you might have to think about, well, Ryu isn't exactly the fastest guy, so he's probably gonna be getting camped out a lot. For that third assist, you might want something that's gonna help put something out for screen control. That can also be Doom assist, but for this example, we might try something like with yeah. So this can be a team, like let's say you're into Ryu, and you're like, alright, well, I don't want my Ryu getting camped out, so I'm gonna have an assist that helps because Ryu's movement isn't exactly the best, right? So you try to figure out how your character works, whichever character it is that you're passionate about, and then you try to cover their weakness with their assist. So like Ryu isn't exactly the fastest character. There are going to be a lot of characters who can run away from Ryu. But then that's where you have your other assists to cover that, so that way people can't really run away from you. Things like that, like this, right? So easy to understand concept. There's all kinds of like room for creativity. If you already have a team set in mind, then you don't really need to pay attention to this part that I'm stressing. But it's all about finding fun in the game while being practical, because like you can't just take a team full of like weird characters. You have to kind of make it work and bring it together, right? Another team I'd like to probably bring to attention is like you could put, let's say you're I like Chun-Li, but I hear that she's you know, that like she just doesn't freaking work. And yeah, you might be right, but she's got, you know, a good anti-air assist, so you can do something like Chun-Li into friggin' Cable, and then you got like freaking Thanos assist on the back, right? But what you could do here with this team, let's say for example, is okay, well you could use her stomps, super jump stomps, to like build a fuck ton of meter. Do something like, you know, like that. You can just spam a bunch of stomps, right? And you can build meter for when you get Cable out, and then you know how Cable is. I don't really play Cable, but you can do the whole Hyper Viper shenanigans with that. And then you have Bubbles, and you can do cross-ups with Bubbles to go into confirms and all that stuff. So this game has a room for a lot of creativity, so I definitely want to encourage people to get into creative things, because you never know what kind of gold mine you might run into experimenting. This game is all about experimentation. You might be discouraged by seeing so many MSP, you know, Magneto Storm, Psylocke, or, you know, other variations of basically the very same, like, few really good characters in the game. But don't let that discourage you, because this game actually lets you, like, express yourself quite a bit. You just kind of have to do some digging, and you have to do a lot. If you don't like being in training mode, then this isn't the game for you. You have to experiment a lot and spend a lot of time in like training mode, because this is where you find your stuff, your sauce, right? And depending on what your goal is with the game, it'll kind of change what team you should play, right? So like obviously, if you're trying to get good at the game and you're trying to get wins and all that, and you don't really care about being creative, then go on ahead, go, you know, do like Team Scrub or whatever, you know, those popular teams that are often promoted. But I'm going to speak for most players that I notice, like most people coming into this game aren't really trying to be tournament players. They're just trying to have fun, and they're trying to like do cool things. And they're usually super passionate about like a character that they have in mind. And so this video is catered to that kind of guy. So like you can do a lot of sauce. So like ever since I was a kid, I'm gonna give an example. I've always liked Shuma. Shuma Gorath has always been like one of my absolute favorites. And I've done a lot of experimenting. I've teamed up Shuma with so many characters, and this is a team that I really like to put together. So this is a team that I really like. Blackheart I've only recently put him in. I don't really know how to use Blackheart. I gotta learn him, but he's mostly there for the assist. Cool overheads. Cool, I can do like cool overhead confirms with the character for a lot of damage with Tron assist. You see that? There, that's a lot of damage. That's literally half health. With no meter. There's also a setup that I learned with the Chaos Dimension using Blackheart's assist. So not only am I using Blackheart assist to anti-zone, but I can also do a Chaos Dimension setup with it. There you go. So this is a combo setup. This is a cool setup. It can like almost immediately kill somebody if I have 3 bars. It's cool. Not like top tier or anything, but it's something really cool and saucy that I do with the character. But yeah, this is just an example that like you can definitely do cool things with a character that you're really passionate about. The character doesn't have to be top tier or anything. This game is actually really creative. Just if you like if you dig into things, and you need to have like a sense of practicality with how you team build, because the team building is everything in this game. So like I said before, you can't just have a bunch of characters that don't really synergize, but like if you've got some synergy going on, you've got some setups, then you could make a really weird looking team like this. You could actually make this work, something like this. So T-Bon also, I like T-Bon because T-Bon also has overhead, much like Shuma. You can go into cool things like that, right? This is a team I really like, and this team like has like a balance of like some unique sauce, but also having some practicality. Obviously, running busted assists, right? 2 busted assists. So I just wanted to make this video just to let anyone watching know like the true way to like really enjoy the game, because there's a difference between getting good at the game and enjoying the game. Those are 2 different things. I think a lot of new players come into this game and they wanna enjoy the game. They don't really care about like winning all the time. They just want to have fun and be able to do things. So this is like the way to do it. You have to. So to recap, the first character is your character that you're passionate about. So in my case, this is my Shuma, and then I'm like, okay, well Shuma is not the fastest character, so much like Ryu, Shuma can probably get camped out. So then that's why I have the Blackheart assist to cover me for that. And then T-Bon is a reliable character with also a really good assist, who doesn't really need me to commit to her too much because she has like simple and intuitive combo game that kind of makes sense, that can snap to me like easily. I don't have to be like super dedicated to Tron, so I could funnel most of my attention to Shuma Gorath and playing Shuma most of the time, and it makes the team kind of work, right? Obviously, I still have to learn Blackheart, so when I have to put my time into Blackheart later on, but that's like that can take its time, right? Your third character is not like a character that you absolutely need to put a time into, but if you can learn them, then you can learn them for those situations where it's down to the wire, then you can learn them. So yeah, that'll be it. Hope this video puts like sheds light into the situation, because I know that this game is very intimidating to get into. I mean, to me, to this day, it still is intimidating with how hard it can be to like retain your attention on it, because of just the ceiling of this game is crazy. It's the craziest that I've ever like seen in any fighting game. But yeah, hope this helps. I'm gonna shut up now.